In these perilous times, see from current events how biblical prophecy is coming to pass in front of our eyes. You're watching In the Last Days, the program that looks at Israel and the end times with teaching from a Hebraic perspective. With Martin and Nathalie Blackham, thank you to our friends and partners who make this program possible. Now, here's Martin and Nathalie.
Hi, welcome to the In the Last Days television program with myself, Martin Blackham, and with my wife, Nathalie Blackham. Great to have you with us, and it's great to have this ITLD update where we can tell you about what we're doing with the In the Last Days television program, go through some emails that you've sent us, tell you a bit about how you can support us, and also we'll begin doing some news from Israel and some Hebrew language, Nathalie. So great to be with you today and to join you. It's the 13th birthday, you know, Nathalie, of Revelation TV. And so we say a special happy birthday to Revelation TV for their 13 years. And it's because of their support and Howard and Leslie that we can come to you today, that we can be in your homes. And so fantastic, well done, and keep going. Well, let's go straight into emails, I think, Nathalie. Natalie's hasn't heard all of these, so we'll have a look at these. This is Shireen from the United Kingdom. She says, I watched your program this morning with David Recruitment. By the way, this would be on a Wednesday morning. We're on at 10 o'clock on Revelation TV on a Wednesday, and on at 10 o'clock p.m. in the evening on a Sunday. So Shireen says, I watched your program this morning with David Recruitment. It was fascinating and very helpful. Thank you. Thank you, Shireen. And Shireen is a supporter of ours as well. So we also had an email from Jacqueline from the United Kingdom. She said, I was very interested in your discussion about the Temple Mount. Thank you for the program. This is the one with Nehemiah Gordon that you did on the Temple Mount, and she really enjoyed that. Gabriel from the UK says, Dear Nathalie, it was great to watch you and Rabbi Eliezer Ben Yehuda on television. So thank you, Gabriel, for your email. Alison from the United Kingdom. Hi, Nathalie. I would like to make a donation to your work and just seeing if it is best to do it online. Do you have a UK bank account? Yes, Alison, and if you're watching today and you'd like to support us, we just email us at info@inthelastdays.com and we'll let you know all the banking details. There's also PayPal you can give online if you're computer literate. If you're not, don't worry. If you're elderly, there's also you can do a donation by check to Blackham Family Ministries, not in the Last Days TV program, because the bank account is not in that name at the moment. So please, if you're doing a check and want to donate to the program, please do that to Blackham Family Ministries. Have we got time for one or two more? Mm-hmm. Okay. This is Roy from the United Kingdom. Dear Martin and Nathalie, may I say how encouraged I am by your program and all you're doing to raise the profile of the position of Israel and the Jewish people in the last days. I've purchased the Beauty of the Hebrew Language book and I'm slowly working my way through it. That's Roy from the United Kingdom. Thank you, Roy. And if you want to know more about the book, we'll be talking about that in the program today. Jeffrey from the United Kingdom. Greetings from the United Kingdom. Thank you for a very interesting program on Israel. It gives a different perspective and adds greatly to other information. And that's really the whole point of the In the Last Days TV program, is that we can be a window into Israel, that you can get up-to-date news. And by the way, if you are on your computer and you are good at computers, you can also see the news, daily news, as our Facebook page, In the Last Days TV program Facebook page, and details are on the screen. So we do a daily news. You can also get a weekly news update on our e-newsletter, can't they, Nathalie? Mm-hmm. And how do they do that? How do they get the newsletter?
You just go on our website and you can just subscribe for the newsletter. And every week I do it. Except last week I didn't do it because we had a great news. We had a little granddaughter, so I was busy and didn't have the time to do the newsletter. But usually it's every week. And we give you sometimes articles, sometimes some teaching, but also news of what's happening here. And people who can't read, people who can't watch the program or missed it or something like that, we put the TV program also on the newsletter so they can look at it. And
if you do miss a program, don't forget the Revelation television website has some of the programs on it. So you can go to the In the Last Days television program section of Revelation TV on the website, and also on YouTube. We put the programs on when we can, so you can also catch up on YouTube as well.
And people are watching it. It's growing, because I can see like Hebrew language, Nehemiah Gordon, Yehuda Glick also. They have a lot of hits, because people can watch, they're interested. So it's great for us to do the program and after put it on YouTube, and it's on Revelation TV. So people can pick up the things.
And if you'd like to email us or write to, we'll put the details.
Yeah.
The details are on the screen. How you can write to us and email us. It's info@inthelastdays.com.
And we'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
Because it's lovely to keep in touch with you, and have a personal contact. We like that.
Yes. And the final email before we go on to news and Hebrew and other things. And this is Chippo from the United Kingdom, and the email says, I would like to know if you do tours in Israel, and also I'd like to know the times or days when you have them. Well, we are not doing tours at the moment, but thank you so much for the email. We appreciate that. But if you do contact us, we will try and put you in touch with people who are doing tours, and of course, if Revelation are doing tours, we'll let you know about that as well. So we're straight into the news from Israel, Nathalie. It's because of your support that we're able to do the In the Last Days television program, and we really appreciate your support and those who are standing with us on a regular basis. That really helps, and they can also donate you can do a special offering, and we really appreciate that, and it really helps with the expenses. Now, the news in Israel. I was talking to Nathalie the other day, and Nathalie was saying, well, it's important we have good news, because that whilst we're in the middle and there has been a terror intifada, we are finding also that there's some good news going on as well.
Good.
So I've got some things that are happening. The first thing that's happening, which some of you may know about if you visited Israel recently, is that they're doing a new highway to Jerusalem. This is the Road 1, which is a kind of, if you're living in the United Kingdom, is like the M1. It's estimated to cost, Nathalie, about 2.5 billion shekels. Billion shekels. Includes the construction of bridges, tunnels, and interchanges over a 16-kilometre. I don't know what that is in miles. I guess that's less than 8 miles. 16-kilometre section of the road.
It's about 10 miles.
Okay. It's about 10 miles, and the new road is one of the most important transport projects to be undertaken by the Ministry of Transport in Israel. The Road 1 plan includes the construction of branching networks of bridges and tunnels, as well as 3 new interchanges, bridges being removed, tunnels being put into place, and also a new public interchange terminal, which is going to be actually for the railway train, the railway station, and that's going to be in central Jerusalem. So there's a lot of construction going on in Israel. There's new roads, new houses, there's construction. There's a new airport going on somewhere.
It's interesting that you say that, because I was doing some cleaning in the house. Not that it's spring yet, but anyway. And I was looking at one of the papers that we wrote, and when we were preparing a program in 2008. And it was 5.5 million in Israel. And I was like, oh my gosh, now it's 7 million. And it's just great. Sometimes you see the news every day, and it's not always good news. But when you look, as you say, if you look long term, you can see that there was, there is a growth, there is people coming back here, there is people having babies, families growing. And Israel is alive. And as you say, we don't have enough money. Funny enough, I was reading something about Jerusalem, that this year there is more young people going out of Jerusalem than coming in, because it's too expensive. So they need to build again some houses. And you can pray for that we will have enough houses, and that the paper, because there is always, they have to ask, and there is committees, and it takes a long time for them to do all these things. And we need to see the young people staying also in Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. Some people say that it's not, but it is. And there is, we just passed 1 million. There is more people living in Jerusalem than in Tel Aviv. And very often we don't think that is the case, but it is. So we need to keep the young people. Nir Barkat is working very hard, the mayor, the Jerusalem mayor. And this is one thing that you can pray about.
And you know, by law, Jerusalem is the capital of Israel by international law. Before the state of Israel, even, you know, we had Alan Baker, Ambassador Alan Baker, on the program, and talking about the international law applicable to Israel, and it's legally the Jerusalem and the area which, unfortunately, the media, the biased media against Israel calls the West Bank, but is actually Judea and Samaria. That actually is legally part of it is Israel, the Jewish part of the Jewish nation. So by law, you know, so, but they, you know, and it's called, actually, if you're interested in this, you can go on to the internet and onto your computer and look up the Levy report, Levy, and you can see all the information that that Jerusalem plus Judea and Samaria are legally part of Israel. Now, also, Nathalie was mentioning, and I think I mentioned it, about the new train station in Jerusalem. Now, if you're coming to visit and you're going on a tour, you might, when you come into Jerusalem, see that it's changed, or there's construction, and actually there's a huge amount of construction next to the bus station, the central bus station, which caters for, which you can go anywhere in the country from Jerusalem in Israel. And there's a construction of a new underground multi-story railway station, which is it's 18 meters deep, and it also will be a nuclear-proof bomb shelter for 2,000 people. I didn't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't.
The station will feature 4 300-meter-long platforms, which commuters can reach via escalators, and 35-person elevators, and it will eventually be part of the largest transportation hub in the country, stretching from the International Convention Centre to the central bus station. The terminal will include bus stops, 2 light railway stops, taxi stands, and more than 1,000 parking places.
Very exciting.
So
Very exciting.
it means that for the first time in the centre of Jerusalem, people will be able to take the train. We do have trains in Israel, and there is already a train, but it's on the outskirts. It's near the biblical zone.
It's in the south, yeah, it's in the south of Jerusalem. So if you live in the north, time to go in the south of Jerusalem, you better take a bus, because it's not worth it to go to cross Jerusalem. So this will be a great thing. But the thing, like we have seen the light railway, now we are all used to see the light railway, but it was a big thing. By the way, they are making it also. They're doing a new, I saw the construction for a new line, and we will go to An Kerem, to the hospital. So again, it will be another branch. And this is exciting, because you see, it was like almost Jerusalem, when you look in during the period of like 2,000 years, it's been sleeping. Sleeping, yeah, we can say. And now Jerusalem is reviving, and Jerusalem is becoming the jewel that it should have always been, but it wasn't.
And Israel is a very new nation. You know, it's only how many years old? Israel?
65 last year.
Yeah, so it's 65 years old.
Or 66. I can't remember now.
And,
but
yeah. You know,
48. Since 48.
The country was in a pretty bad state when you had to rebuild it, and then because of wars and everything, it's a miracle that it's now a progressive nation with technology, with the place where they invented the cell phone, and antivirus for computers, and so many technological advancements have been done here, and the road systems and the internet works well here, and people don't know that. You know, if you've not been to Israel, you don't realize how much
when you hear all the BDS and all these things, you know, like all again Israel, people every time, and it was the same for us when we were coming here. It was like, oh, wow, they are, there is buildings again, and it is true. Like yesterday, I was driving from Jerusalem going back home, and I was using the new road. There is a new road now, and it's higher, and it's just beautiful. And we were like, because we live here, we think more and more about like the Christian world and the Jewish world and the connection that we have. And it's like the Bible, the scriptures have been written, first of all, in Hebrew. You look in Genesis 1, God spoke, and he spoke in Hebrew. And after you read in Genesis 2, God has given the power of man to speak to, and like he was giving the power for Adam to speak and to give names, to create names for the animals. We'll speak about that a bit later on, which is very interesting, and you will see why. And in Genesis, so everybody was speaking Hebrew. For us, it might be a new thing as Christian, but for the Jewish people, they know that because the scriptures are very important for them, and they go from the beginning to the end. And at the beginning, there was only Hebrew. And when we read in Genesis 11, we can see that God has, with the Tower of Babel, we can see that God created 70 languages, and Abraham and Noah and Shem and Ever, they kept the Hebrew language going, but we lost it.
Which we don't really know about that, because we know about the Tower, when the Tower of Babel and the confusion of the languages, but we don't realize that Hebrew was there before, and Hebrew was there afterwards. We don't, it's not really taught, really.
No. And if you look in Genesis 11, you read it, you study it, and you see that, okay? So all the nations lost it, but Abraham and his family, which was going to be Israel after, kept it, okay? But us as nation, we lost this power, but they still had, because you see, I wrote the book, The Beauty of the Hebrew Language. It's wonderful. It's just an introduction to know how important the Hebrew language is. But the thing, I'm discovering the power of the Hebrew language.
And how can they get the book, Nathalie?
They just you can go on our website, and you can just have it with PayPal. If you don't know how to do PayPal, you can just ask a friend or a member of your family to do it for you. And in Jerusalem, you can find the book in different library. But like for people all around the world, you can just do it with PayPal. It's fine. So this is important. So we lost it as the nations, but God has carried on giving a blueprint to the people of Israel. But the thing, he wants to restore it for everybody. And you see that in Zephaniah 3:9. We spoke already a few times. We spoke with Nehemiah Gordon too. We spoke about this verse. And this is the verse who has all the Hebrew letters. No, sorry, the verse before, Zephaniah 3:8, is the one who has all the letters of the Hebrew language, which is amazing, in one verse, which shows that God was saying, hey, you see, I'm going to say something very important. And so there is written that he's going to restore the Hebrew language. So this is one thing. But because we will call upon his name, we will pray to him. It doesn't mean that he doesn't want us to have the other languages, but like Hebrew is going to be important. As Jerusalem, we can see how it's getting to be more and more beautiful, and the Hebrew language is the same. It's going to be pushed, and we have people having dreams, having like a really deep sense in them. I want to read it. Okay, maybe we go very quickly because I want to show you a few things. We spoke about Adam, who was speaking about the giving names to animals, okay? And there is some very beautiful things. I'm going to just take few. Okay, you have one, which is, elephants, and elephant is like that. Peel, okay, is peel. And if you write it, because sometimes I don't write it in cursive, but we use a lot cursive in Hebrew. This is peel, is the name in cursive, and pil means elephant in Hebrew. It comes from the verb poal, which means doing. And it means something else also, doing, did, work. And what does the elephant do?
He's working.
He's working a lot. He can do a lot of things. And this is a thing also in the Hebrew and in the scriptures. Every word is not just something, it's not an abstract thing. Every letter has its right place and carries something to show what it is, okay? We don't have too much time, so I go quickly to another one. And this is a beautiful one, is dog, okay? So dog in Hebrew is kelev, okay? And you do a k, so it's with a dot in it, kelev. And in cursive is like that. It's almost the same. It's quite similar. And it's dog. And if you look at the letters again here, you cut it there, and it's like ke, lev. Ke is like, and lev is your heart. And we always speak that a dog is the best friend of man. So it's like, he's like my heart. He's close to me. We know that. We have a dog here, and he's very much like that. So you see, this is Adam, who find the name, who saw what was a dog, who saw what was an elephant, and used the power of the letters and give the name to the animal. And I give you another one also. We spoke about it with a lady. You will see a program with Sherry Mandel, and she had a son who was murdered, and you will see it's a beautiful program, and she's a beautiful lady. And we were speaking about the struggle going from a terrible time to better time, okay? And so we speak about, I was speaking to her about an animal that I discovered, and I've learned things through it. And this is par, like that also in cursive, and it's butterfly. And when I knew that Adam gave the name to the animals, I'm like, okay, there is a treasure underneath. So let us look. So par comes from the verb pair, and pair means struggling. So when he's in his cocoon, to get out to be a butterfly, he's struggling. And sometimes we can go through difficult time, and it's okay, it's part of life. And we go from a cocoon where we can be like, you know, in a bad, it's difficult, and after we come out, and we are a butterfly.
And it's part of being in Israel, really, the struggle of being here, and you know, and part of the struggle of Israel being a nation, and the Jewish people coming back. Not always easy, you know, to leave your home and to leave places where you've lived and your families have lived for generations and have to move back to the land of Israel. Now, some of the things in Israel, not so good at the moment, but we've been having the terror wave, the violence in Israel. So just as we're coming to the end of the program, I just want to mention this is from the Jerusalem Post, and if we can get that on the camera, you can see on the right-hand side it says terrorist stabs Otniel mum to death as daughter watches, and there's some pretty terrible things happening. You know that in this wave of terror. As I said before, you know, the nation is going on and it's growing, but there's also a battle and a struggle to be here. And this particular story in the Jerusalem Post of the Otniel mother, who was Daphne Meir, she was in her home in Otniel. Now we've actually done programs we've done filming in Otniel. It's one of the Jewish communities the other side of, it's south of Hebron, and we've done filming from there. Rabbi Yehuda Glick, who has been a guest on the program, is based in Otniel, and Daphne was at home in the afternoon, I believe, and a Palestinian terrorist came to the door.
Who was 15 years old.
came to the door and stabbed her to death, and in front of her children. Her husband wasn't there at the time, and this kind of, so we've been having a wave of terror attacks, and it's important for you to know that whilst these are happening, and that they are happening, and it's not reported in the news, it's not reported in BBC, whilst these are happening, the nation is growing. We are seeing expansion, as I said, with the Road 1 and with the construction in Israel. But it's really a battle, and not just that, but also Hamas in the south have been constructing tunnels, and the news reports that their tunnel construction is pretty much as it was, or more maybe than it was during the last war. Egypt has been flooding tunnels, and Hamas terrorists have been killed whilst they've been doing tunnels.
And I would say even God flooded some tunnels, because we had loads of rain, and obviously the tunnels have been also flooded by the rain over there. So, you know, it's what's happening.
And in the north, we're on the border of Syria, and of course Syria is a huge war. Some people call it the Third World War. There's so many air forces involved over the battle for Syria, and of course you know about that with the refugees. But also Syria has been threatening, or sorry, not Syria, Hezbollah has been threatening Israel, and also their leader has been threatening to bomb or send missiles into Haifa in the north of Israel, where they have a big, I think it's an ammonium plant, which could, if it exploded, could send this gas all through Israel. So, you know, there are threats. Whilst, you know, there's things good, we have a lot of good things to report. It is a time where we have ISIS, we have the Hezbollah, Hamas, so there are a lot of pressures on the borders and for the soldiers. And we know not a lot of you are intercessors who are praying about this, and it's important for you to know about this. Well, it's been great to be with you. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's because of your support that we can do the program, so we appreciate that, and thank you to consider supporting us if this program is really important to you. Nathalie and I say shalom from Jerusalem, and remember, we're living in the last days.
You've been watching In the Last Days, a TV program with Martin and Nathalie Blackham, the program that looks at Israel and the end times with teaching from a Hebraic perspective. If you would like to financially support the program or find out about conferences, meetings, or ministry products, then please contact us with the details on your screen. Visit our easy-to-use website at www.inthelastdays.com and register for our free e-newsletter. Get the latest news from Israel, product information, online video teaching, or watch today's TV program at a time that's convenient to you. Thank you again, friends and partners, for making this program possible.
See you same time, same station for the next program from In the Last Days.